tonight, the FBI, as we've been discussing, is in possession of a document allegedly detailing a criminal scheme from Biden's time as vice president.
What I'm about to tell you is bad, but then it gets worse, and then it gets really bad. And ironically, the hammer coming down on Trump and the Republican Party belongs to a Fox News analyst who is destroying the Republican narrative. Let's start at the top. It was bad enough when Republicans abandoned a bill that would protect America's border because Tiny Fingers commanded this jellyfish to kill it because it hurt Trump politically. But that was just the beginning.
The president's involvement in a bribery scheme, now that Alexander Smirnov is proven to have made it up, and it was based off Russian intelligence.
Joe Biden then goes to Ukraine 3 days later and conditions the release of the money, American tax money, on the firing of the prosecutor who was applying the pressure to the company that Hunter Biden sat on the board of.
You said the 1023 is the most corroborating piece of information you have.
It corroborates, but it doesn't change those fundamental facts. So now
it's not true.
Well, so okay.
That, of course, is Jim Jordan, who, along with this guy, built an entire case against Hunter Biden based on an FBI informant who was indicted for lying to the FBI about everything the Republicans have been saying over the last 3 years.
Joe Biden has never had any involvement or any direct or indirect financial interest in those activities. None. Do you take that at face value, Jessica?
This is the path that they've chosen to take. And honestly, I'm surprised that they have this high of a threshold for humiliation. Every witness that they have called has decimated their arguments, from Devin Archer to Peter Schwerin to Marvin Young. And then we have the guy behind the Holy Grail document, the 1023, Alexander Smirnov, who's found that he had lied, right, about the charges, the $5 million that went to both of them.
Everything Comer said was a lie. So let's break this down. Republicans for years have been trying to prove that Hunter Biden got his father to break the law by helping his friends in Ukraine. And everything stemmed from the testimony of Alexander Smirnov, who had been working for the FBI as an informant since 2010. Now, here's Jim Jordan getting a stiffy reciting Smirnov's BS.
The most corroborating evidence we have is that 1023 form from this highly credible, confidential human source.
But last week, as you know by now, Smirnov was indicted for lying to the Bureau about the president's son and the crimes that only occurred in the tiny minds of the Trump party. So the case against Hunter Biden and Joe Biden collapsed. There is no evidence at all to support any of the Republican allegations.
And then it gets even better. Not only did he lie, he was lying because the Russians were feeding him the disinformation. It's so embarrassing. I think Jamie Raskin was spot on when he said that this impeachment inquiry really ended yesterday when we found out that we have a Russian asset that was foundational to this impeachment inquiry. And Jim Comer and Jim Jordan should maybe try doing something for their constituents and let this go, because it's going nowhere.
That's Fox News contributor Jessica Tarloff destroying Fox News and its panel of Trumpy white teeth. But this is disturbing on a level that reveals just what kind of American you really are. I mean, how long have we been listening to the same BS from Trump?
And after 3 years of lies and smears and slander, the Russia hoax is finally dead.
Now, the very guy on whom the Republicans base their entire case is saying he was fed this information by the Russians, which of course means Putin, to attack the president's son, and in doing so, attack our president. All of which is consistent with the same shit they've been doing for the last 9 years. Smirnov told the FBI after his arrest that individuals associated with Russian intelligence were tied to apparent efforts to peddle a story about Hunter. This according to federal prosecutors. It's significant to point out it's been a week since Putin murdered Russian dissident Alexei Navalny, and Trump has said nothing. And now it's been revealed Navalny's been writing letters regarding his concerns that a Trump presidency would embolden Putin's dictatorial ambitions. What the hell is wrong with the Republican Party? How can it be that Fox News, with a few exceptions, not see and understand the danger this represents to the U.S. and the world? Do you really want Russia to invade Poland and roll over NATO countries while Trump sits back with his sociopathic grin? How long will this go on?
Jessica, just to push back a little bit on what you said, you said that everybody who's testified before the committee has said Joe Biden didn't have any involvement in this. Tony Bobulinski testified before the committee and said the only reason any of these international business transactions took place, with tens of millions of dollars flowing directly to the Biden family, was because Joe Biden was in high office. The Biden family business was Joe Biden, period. What do you say?
Well, I say that the Senate themselves, including Senate Republicans, have not found Tony Bobulinski to be credible. So he gives a great cable news interview. I understand it's very compelling for people who want to believe that Joe Biden is actually a Gotti, a mob boss. But he doesn't have a ton of credibility. The people who do have credibility, like Devin Archer, for instance, have completely blown a hole through that argument. He's talked about the phone calls. He's talked about the money. Peter Schwerin handled the books. And if you want to talk about loans, we'll see if there was documentation. I don't know a lot of family members who say, I'll lend you some money. We got to get a good interest rate on this, make sure that I'm paid back in time. And he did pay him back almost immediately also. It's like we're going to hear about Hunter Biden's loan for a car that he paid back. What we're really coming down to is that we're going to be discussing the difference between blowing lines of cocaine or sawdust. This is a waste of the American people's time and our dollars.
Republicans are relentless in their search for dirt on Joe Biden, even though they've yet to find any. It goes back to Trump blackmailing Zelensky right through these latest allegations. And Republicans keep it up. This is my favorite part. After building their case on a liar and watching it fall apart, they're now grasping at straws again, this time building their whole thing on Tony Bobulinski. Now, what is a Tony Bobulinski? Well, he was an energy executive who testified before Congress claiming President Biden was involved in foreign business deals. In October 2020, Bobulinski said at a press conference he had emails, WhatsApp chats, agreements, documents, and other evidence that Joe Biden profited off Hunter's business ventures by cashing in on his father's name. But these documents never appeared, and they've never been corroborated. They don't exist. And Bobulinski then admitted that Trump invited him as a guest back in 2020 to one of the debates with Biden. Special counsel David Weiss, the Trump-appointed prosecutor tasked with investigating Hunter, is now accusing Smirnov of providing his FBI handlers with fake allegations about Hunter and the president back in 2020. Smirnov claimed the two Bidens each got $5 million from that Ukrainian energy company Burisma. The claims were false, as the defendant knew, according to the charging documents filed against him. So let's put all this together. Smirnov admitted that officials associated with Russian intelligence were involved in passing stories about Hunter and the president. You'd think the Republican Party would stand up and accuse Comer, Jordan Gates, and the rest of these Trump incels of traitorous compliance with a nation who threatens to launch nuclear weapons against our wives, husbands, and our children. But no, instead, they shuffle their feet and invent new lies, all intended to protect Trump. I don't know what happened to the Republican Party, but after all this, I no longer care. Follow, like, and hit notifications, and help us at Really American keep the heat on the right-wing media and this Republican Party. Let us know what you think, too. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.
Who's with me?